name is Anna, and this is the story of an autumn that transformed my life. It was a typical October afternoon, with golden leaves slowly falling, when I made the decision to leave my unsatisfactory job. As I walked out of the office for the last time, I felt a mix of relief and apprehension. Arriving home, the stillness of the environment seemed to amplify my anxiety about the future. I knew this change was necessary, but I couldn't help worrying about how I would support myself. My wife, Laura, was traveling for work, and I missed her support and comfort. That night, as I tried to sleep, my thoughts revolved around the imminent visit of my mother-in-law, Margaret. Margaret had always been an intimidating figure in my life, and I dreaded her reaction to my decision. She was known for her difficult and often selfish personality. As the hours passed, I pondered how to deal with the situation. I needed a plan, a way to face Margaret and protect my marriage, which I valued above everything. But that night, without answers, all I could do was wait, restless, for what was to come. Margaret arrived the next day, exuding the same aura of authority and disdain I knew so well. She barely entered the house before she started criticizing my decision to leave my job, questioning my competence and the impact of this choice on my marriage with Laura. Her words were like blades, cutting through any sense of security I had. "You need to leave this house," she declared, with a coldness that made me shiver. I was stunned, unable to believe that my wife's mother could be so cruel. After Margaret left, the house felt emptier and colder than ever. I felt lost, wondering if my decision had been a colossal mistake. That day turned into a long reflection on what I had done with my life. That night, unable to sleep, I thought about how to tell everything to Laura. The idea of losing the love of my life because of my mother-in-law was unbearable. I knew the conversation with Laura would be decisive, and that only increased my anxiety. In the days that followed, as I waited for Laura to return from her trip, I found myself immersed in a sea of thoughts and doubts. The house, once a home full of love and laughter, now seemed an echo of my own uncertainty. I tried to occupy my mind with small tasks and hobbies, but nothing seemed to alleviate the feeling of desolation. I wondered if Laura would understand and support my decision, or if her mother's words would influence her against me. Each passing day increased my anxiety. I rehearsed mental conversations, imagining different scenarios and reactions. I knew Laura's support would be crucial to face this storm, but the doubt about her reaction tormented me. Finally, the day of Laura's return arrived. My heart raced, alternating between joy at her return and fear of the unknown. I knew that what I said next could change everything between us. When Laura arrived, I could barely hide my tension. I sat down with her and, with a trembling voice, told her everything about her mother's visit and the demands she had made. To my surprise, Laura's reaction was one of total support. Laura was outraged by her mother's attitude and assured me that we were in this together. She suggested that we consider moving to a different city, starting anew somewhere where we could be just the two of us, away from Margaret's toxic influence. We spent the following days planning our move. It was a mix of fear and excitement. The idea of starting over, though daunting, also brought a sense of freedom and possibility. Finally, we decided on a small town in the countryside, a place where we could build our own life together. It was a step towards the unknown, but we were determined to face it together. Our first day in the new town was a mix of relief and anticipation. The fresh air and tranquility of the countryside were a welcome contrast to the tension and chaos we had left behind. We found a charming apartment on the outskirts of the town, a place we soon called home. In the following months, as we settled into our new life, I felt a change in me. The anxiety and insecurity gave way to a sense of hope and determination. I began working as a freelancer, exploring my creative passions, while Laura found satisfaction in her new job. Our relationship strengthened in this new environment. Without Margaret's shadow over us, we could focus on ourselves and our love. It was as if we had been given a second chance. The following autumn found us happier and more fulfilled than ever. Sitting together on the porch, watching the leaves fall, we smiled, knowing that, despite all adversities, we had found our way. The following autumn brought us a sense of renewal and gratitude. Sitting on our porch, Laura and I watched the falling leaves, each one symbolizing the changes we had faced together. Our new town had become a home, a haven of peace and happiness. I now dedicated myself to writing, something I had always dreamed of doing, but never had the courage. My words, flowing freely, were a reflection of the new life we had built. Laura, in turn, found joy in her new job, something that filled her and brought new meaning to her life. The distance from Margaret allowed us to heal the wounds of the past. Although there were still moments when the memory of her words haunted us, those moments were increasingly rare. We had chosen to move forward, embrace our happiness, away from the toxicity she represented. That autumn, as the wind whispered through the trees and the leaves danced around us, I knew we had made the right choice. Life is made of new beginnings, and each autumn brings the promise of a new start. Laura and I had found ours, and we were ready for whatever the future held.